I did a, mystery trade thing.
Yeah?
And got a shiny Guzzlord.
Jesus.
Yeah, it was super hacked.
Yeah, that is, It's like, you just look at that and it's like, you're sketchy. If you're not hacked, you're cloned. And it's like,
Are
yeah.
you kidding? I thought that it was like somebody had hacked a fucking Digimon into the game at first. Because I've never seen it.
You've never seen
before.
it. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, no, that is a good description of what that thing is. Honestly, it is, a vibe. Oh, you ever want to see something fucking funny? Actually, I'm gonna ask you to do it now. Go on YouTube and look up Guzzlord from the anime.
Oh dear.
Just look that up. Real quick.
Alright. Right now.
Yeah,
right
go ahead and
now.
do it right now, because then we can all get the full experience of your reaction to that.
Oh god. Alright.
You'll understand why when it happens, I assure you. Yeah, the other thing I hate about heavy balls is, like, using them with my Pokemon, it's just, like, the weight is fucking, like,
Okay, all I'm seeing is just Guzzlord's Scream compilations.
yeah, go with those. You'll understand. Just click on one of them. Pretty much any of them will work.
It's 3.5 minutes of just screaming.
Yeah, just click on it. You'll understand in a moment.
Alright.
Yeah, somebody made that decision. Someone made that decision to have that as the anime voice for Guzzlord. Someone looked their producers in the eye and said, you know what we should do with Guzzlord in this anime?
Just a guy.
Yeah, it's just a guy screaming. I don't know why. But for some reason, that was hilarious to everybody. It's like, what? Who decided this was a good idea? Look me in the eyes and tell me you thought this through, Pokemon Company. Look
No.
Yeah, you can't.
No.
You can't do it. Nobody thought it through. There was no brain cell.
There is no brain cell.
There is no brain in him head, only scrambled egg. By God, that was not an effective checksum. I feel like I like use that like a shirt. Like, scrambled egg is not an effective checksum. It's not. Don't use scrambled eggs as your fucking counter for things. God damn it, it's not how it works. It was just like, that came out and for some reason killed the internet. Because it's just, somebody made that decision to make Guzzlord just screaming. It's like, okay. Why? And the answer was, why not? Right, Walrein, Remoraid, Octillery, Drapion, Purugly, Machamp. Let's go pick some shit up.
So what the fuck is Guzzlord supposed to be anyway?
Do you have time for a 20-minute rant conversation?
I mean, obviously I'm here.
Oh, valid argument. Right, let me swap out my team really quick so that I don't get too sidetracked with what I'm doing, and then I will explain to you what the fuck is going on with Guzzlord. I can give you a short answer and then a long answer, and I assure you, they are about as valuable as each other. And then I think my next thing after this was Dusclops, so I'll grab that on the way out as well, because I don't think... Oh no, I actually do need to do Chatot. I guess I'm gonna have to go back and get Chatot out. Oh well, problem for a future picks. Okay. So the summary of what the fuck is going on with Guzzlord really is, we don't know what the fuck is going on with Guzzlord. Like, that is really the best way to start this conversation. It's a very good question. So Guzzlord is one of the things called Ultra Beasts, which is from the 3DS generation, specifically Generation 7.
Yes, Sun and Moon.
Yeah, welcome to hell. We already start with Generation 7. So Generation 7 has the Ultra Beasts in it, and they're like kind of a massive part of the plot to the game. Which is very entertaining considering they show up like once, twice, maybe thrice. Like they don't show up very much. It's like Nilhelego, which I have a shiny of and it's very pretty, I must admit. Like that's one of them, things like that. Pheromosa, Wall, things like those things, right? So they're the ones that look really weird and, like, actually some of them look obnoxiously human and slightly creepy. So the idea with Ultra Beasts, from what I understand, is that they essentially come through the Ultra Wormholes, which are basically super portals, and they come from other dimensions. Because we needed other dimensions in our Pokemon game, I guess. We already had those, but whatever. So you get these... And then in the actual, like, game, you get essentially these Pokemon coming through the Ultra Wormhole, into... Fuck, I did that wrong. Into the regular Pokemon world thing, and there's Crazy Lady who's trying to investigate this place, and while trying to investigate it, I think, like, her husband died or something, and so she's trying to get into the Ultra Beast universe, and it's all a bit weird. And then you get to Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, which adds the plot of Necrozma, which is an Ultra Beast that eats stars, and it showed up in this one dimension and ate its sun, so now this place, which is called Ultra Megalopolis or something like that, has no sunlight and is basically like a death world, and they have to wander around in special suits, and these people are journeying between universes to try and make sure that Necrozma's not going to show up or something. I don't quite remember the plot great, I will admit that much, but it was a bit weird. Anyway, Guzzlord is one of these
that is a bit weird.
Guzzlord is one of these Pokemon, and that is pretty much all I can tell you, because fuck me, we don't know what's going on with these things aside from it's weird. And it's great. And I hate it immensely. And I think I'm also going to have to go and do Octillery as another Pokemon that I do out in its actual spawning zone because of how shit it is. Lovely. So yeah, it's weird, is essentially what its main problem is, and, like, honestly, there's probably good, like, actual explanations as to what the fuck is going on, but I have never actually found a good explanation about these things, in terms of, like, what they are, why, anything, honestly. I've not, like, found... It's really weird. It's really weird, and it's just kind of one of those things where a lot of the time I sit there staring at it for a little while and then just go, you know what? I don't think I actually want to know. It's like, I know many things about this game, but I think I might have hit the point where it's like, I don't think I actually want to know this information. It's just one of those really weird Pokemon that it's like, I don't know why this was necessary. And yeah, I'm putting Octillery on the fucking do it later list, and I also missed off Drapion. That's why I didn't have enough Pokemon out. It's just like... something. This Pokemon happens, and somebody decided it was a good idea. And there's probably lore behind it, but by God, I don't know what that lore is. Aside from, it eats things. I've seen it's like... Because one of the things that's in Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon is that you can get pretty much any of the legendaries using the Ultra Wormholes. And the thing about using the Ultra Wormholes to do that is that when you go through them, if you get one of the Ultra Beasts, they have a special, like, area compared to, you know, the legendaries themselves, the normal, like, regular, normal world legendaries. Agile style, not strong style, you dipshit. And Guzzlord's is all, like, sideways buildings and conveyor belts, I think, and it's really weird, and it's kind of implied to be, like, a city eater, essentially. I think from that, and it's just like, what? Yeah, 2 hours really did swiftly approach, and I don't fucking get it at all. I'd kind of like to just keep streaming that. But yeah, it's just like, Guzzlord is an event that happened to the Pokemon universe, I think, at this point. But it really is implied to be like a city eater. From that like, universe thing, because it's, like, I'd have to look it up, but, like, Guzzlord's,
You know what? I'm coming up with a headcanon for Guzzlord right now.
Okay, cool. Give us a fucking headcanon while I look up Guzzlord's piece of shit fucking circle, like, wormhole thing, so that I can try and show an image of it somewhere.
Okay, Guzzlord is a created Pokemon that was used to eat and recycle the material from abandoned and blown out cities after a war in an alternate Pokemon universe that ended up with a lot of destroyed cities.
Yeah, okay, I'll take that. What the fuck is
The
trying
more
to
it
attack
ate,
me?
the more it grew, and then it got out of control, and so now it just kind of is a walking natural disaster.
Yeah, it makes sense to me, honestly. I'll take that. Because it's got...
There you go.
It's got,
Canon.
like, such... just... Yeah, the Ultra Wormholes are really fun to, like, mess with, but also I fucking loathe the Ultra Wormholes. They piss me off. They're so hard to actually play in. And I can't find any good pictures of the Ultra Wormhole for it. Yeah, Ultra Ruin is what it's called. Images... Yeah, so it's like this really big destroyed cityscape, essentially. And it's also all sideways for some reason, because fuck you, but yeah, it's all, like, super wrecked and shit. You'd probably have to look it up on YouTube to get some decent, like, images of it and stuff, but it is actually kinda creepy. Not gonna lie, it's kinda creepy. It's one of those things where you just kind of, like, look at it and it's like, you give me an existential crisis. Thanks. Don't approve. Do not approve at all.
Wonderful.
Yeah, it's like, I did not approve this existential crisis. Here's a giant shinx, let's go fight that instead of, like, thinking about whatever the fuck happened to this thing. But yeah, like I say, Guzzlord kind of has the unfortunate crown of, it's a Pokemon I'd probably really enjoy looking more into and, like, finding more out about, but it unfortunately came from Generation 7. Which is a game that I don't have the patience to, like, play through to look at the lore, so I'd have to look it up, and that's also not, like, as fun, so... It's just kind of one of those Pokemon that sort of ended up falling by the wayside, because I just don't like the generation it came from.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, it doesn't help that it's really weird as well, like, again, people decided... I know this is rich coming from me, considering, like, look at all of the gimmicks that we have in the new games that I just love, right?
Mm-hmm.
I adore half of the gimmicks. Like, we were talking about, Terastallizing, or whatever the fuck it's called, and I'm like, I actually think that's great fun. I just looked at the fucking menu and didn't read what it said again. Fuck it, I'm googling it. But yeah, it's like, it's just one of those things, like, it looks fun. I think it looks like a great time. It's gonna be weird, yeah, but I think it looks like a great time. It looks like it's gonna be a lot of fun to mess with. So it's like, it's really a thing for me to be saying, yeah, look at this fucking gimmick. But at the same time, like, it's just one of those weird things, like with the Ultra Wormholes, that it fit, but it sort of fit at a weird angle to the rest of the Pokemon universe, which is where it caused problems for me. It's like, yeah, sure, we have, like, alternate dimensions and stuff already, so it does make sense. But at the same time, I'm sitting there looking at it a little bit, and I'm like, well, we had the distortion world as one thing, but it's like, the wormholes are another, and it's a bit, like, of one of those moments where I'm just kind of like, I don't know if I actually like this or not. It's like, it's neat.
Yeah, I would really like the chance to play through Sun or Moon.
Yeah,
or
that's,
Ultra Sun.
that's fair, and I
It's
really
like,
hope that my, like, never-ending salt for these games doesn't ever put you off if you get the chance. Because they are good, I just don't like them, is sort of my problem. Like,
no, and that's completely understandable. But it's like, I never got a chance to play Oras, I never got a chance to play X or Y. I have the mysteriously appearing Y game.
I still love the fucking legend of that thing. One of these days we need to get you a 3DS so that we can see what the fuck is on that cart.
Yeah, seriously.
Like, I'm terrified of that thing. That's
With my luck, it's gonna be just like... me. It's just gonna be like, I have played that game.
Some fucking how, despite the fact that you don't own a 3DS.
Yes.
And, like, never have. It's just one of those moments where it's like, okay, this happened. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Please get away from me.
It's the game that I owned in an alternate universe or some shit.
Yeah, it's just somehow arrived at your house. But yeah, like, Pichu. He's a
But,
baby.
like, I really want a chance to play those games, and it makes me sad that I don't think I'm ever going to have a chance to.
Yeah, I think the thing that is, like, the worst about those games is the fact of, like, it's so hard to get good quality ROMs online for the 3DS games. Like, it is so difficult to do that. Because it's just one of those, like, things where because of how they put them on, like, eShop and stuff, it's actually really hard to get the ROM scraping done or something, from what I understand of what they said. I had a talk about this a few years ago with some people in a forum, and I don't remember the conversation properly, but it was essentially like the way that they've done... The way that Nintendo put out the 3DS games made something really difficult for getting, like, ROMs out of them to, like, make them, like, good quality ROMs. Like, you get decent ones, but you don't get, like, really good ones, which is the problem. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I think that's good, and I'm gonna do Dusknoir because I need to go back for Drapion and Dusclops. And Chatot, rather. But yeah, it's just one of those things where it's like... It's so hard to get good quality ones that if you didn't pick them up on, like, launch, it's so difficult to actually be able to play them, and that's really depressing because they are good games. Like, just because I will happily sit here and bitch about the story of Sun and Moon because I don't like it personally, it doesn't make it a bad game. It just makes it something that wasn't particularly to my taste when I played it, and therefore I just have not had a good time thinking back to finishing it or anything. Because like I say, like, I have 4 copies, essentially. Because I have... Holy shit, that's a big Shinx again. I have Sun and Moon. I have beaten Sun, I have not beaten Moon. I have Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. I have beaten Ultra Moon, I have not even gotten to, like, the second... I don't think I finished the second island. When it comes to Ultra Moon. Like, or Ultra Sun, rather. I just could not be bothered. It doesn't help that my team in that game is utter shit, actually, that is also a problem. But, like, yeah, it's like, they are good games, and, like, I could see you having quite a bit of fun with them, to be fair, because they are the sort of, like, personally, I think the plot is stupid, and I think that the post-game plot is a bit wobbly and weird, and I've never actually like, the thing is the post-game plot for me is stupid as fuck, not because of what the plot is, but because of how hard it is to find. You have to use the multiplayer interface to access the post-game. You don't have... Here's the thing, you don't have to use the multiplayer, but you just have to know the multiplayer interface exists, and go to it. And there, as far as I'm aware, there's no actual hint that, like, oh yeah, if you go to this area, it'll set you onto the path, the plot, but it will start the post-game. So, like, I fucked around for so long trying to figure out what the post-game was for Ultra Moon. And I just gave up. I just went and started shiny hunting. I just put it down and walked off. I was like, I can't figure out how to get the post-game into this. I know of it. I knew about it and everything by that point. I can't figure out how to access it. I'm just gonna go do something else. So I did. I just walked off and did something else. But it was just one of those sort of moments of, like, that was probably, like, one of the stupidest things that I'd ever found out, was looking at it, and it was like, yeah, if you want to find the post-game plot, you go to the multiplayer interface, and it's there. And I was just like, what? Like, I legitimately did, like, the what face and everything. I was just so baffled by the idea of, yeah, no, to get to the post-game of this single-player game, you have to go to the multiplayer interface. And we aren't going to tell you that part. It was just one of those, like, strange moments of just so much stupid kind of happening, and it was just like, okay, whatever, moving on. I was shiny hunting already by that time. But yeah, like... The story isn't bad. The problem that I have with Sun, Moon, Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, and I think this is the main thing that has kind of tainted my entire replay thing with any of them, is that the story isn't that different. I've got to stand up, apparently. Okay. Thank you, Kara. But yeah, the story isn't that different to Sun and Moon, with Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, and that has kind of tainted all 4 of them as a cluster for me, in a way. Because the problem is I played Black and White, and I played Black and White 2 on release. Well, I played White 2 on release. I've still not, to this day, played Black 2, because I don't own a copy of that game. But yeah, I played those games on release. I played White 2 was the first game that I original White was the first game that I had. Apparently I'm having a drink as well, fair enough, I am doing a rant. White 2 was the first game I had a level 100 Pokemon on. And it was the first game that I actually beat. I followed that up quite quickly afterwards with, I think I finished off Pokemon Soul Silver finally. But like, because when I played them on release, I was very young. So I didn't have like very good team. Like my team was terrible. I was very much the sort of person who basically loaded out their Pokemon with stab moves that were high damage, low accuracy, and then just hoped. I very much was a spray and pray player with just terrible movesets, and it was all just a bit awful. But at the same time, like, I played those games, White and White 2 specifically, I played those when I was a little bit older, so I had a bit more experience with the game, but I also had a bit more of a care for the story and stuff. If you never play, and this is actually a thing, this is a really big thing for me, because everybody probably by this point knows what I think of Platinum. I think everybody's heard my opinions on Platinum. But I have to say that if you absolutely had to pick, like only a couple games to experience from Pokemon, Black and White and Black and White 2.
Yeah, those ones are...
They are so good.
Pinnacle.
They are so good.
They are the pinnacle of Pokemon games.
Yeah, like, they are just excellent. And the thing with them, and the reason that, like I say, I would sit down and happily recommend them over basically anything, is their story. And specifically, the synergy of their story. And that's why I say both. When I'm talking about that, I say both, because the synergy of their story is without a doubt one of the best, like, sequel games I've ever had the honor of sitting down and playing. Like, it's so good what they do in that game to get, like, a good sequel. And honest to God, it is a crime that I haven't seen anything like that for the other games in this series, because, Jesus, if they went back to Black and White 2's formula of sequel stuff, I'd be so happy.
You and a lot of people, I think.
Yeah, it's so well done. Like, the way that they did that was so good. Black and White had such a good story. Like I say, I was really young at the time of those games coming out. I did not appreciate them enough, and by God, I need to play them again. But I sat my ass down.
I need to go back and replay them, because I've still got my DS Lite, and I've still got all of my DS Pokemon games.
Yeah.
I should go back and play them.
Yeah, I'd probably end up emulating and streaming them, honestly, because, like, they are the sort of experience that I'd like sharing. But yeah, they are, the story and the synergy specifically is beautiful in Black and White to Black and White 2. It's so well done. And to bring me back to the original point... Sorry, go on.
No, I was just muttering at myself about, that's a good point. You could actually emulate those pretty well, right?
Yeah, because they're DS games, so they had a different sort of, some sort of different, like, coding thing, like the anti-hack coding or whatever was different, so it's easier to emulate them or something. Now, don't quote me on that, like I say, I'm working on very old memories, I can't remember shit about dick from that conversation. But yeah, to bring me back to the original point of this rant, that brings us to Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon from Sun and Moon. I was so excited, because I thought that what they were going to do was, like, the Black and White formula, essentially. I thought they were going to bring us a sequel game to Sun and Moon's story, like, setting it... I think Sun and Moon is... I think Black and White is, like, 2 years later. I can't remember exactly. I want to say it's 2 years.
Something like that. 2 years, 5 years, something like that.
Yeah, I think it's 2 years, because I think it's 5 years is Gold, Silver, Crystal from Red and Blue. I think that's 5 years, and then it's 2 years, I think, for Black and White. But no matter what, that doesn't really matter too much in the grand scheme of things, because like I say, the big thing with those games was the way that the story followed on was great. And so when I heard Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, I freaked out a little bit, I'm not gonna lie. I was, I want to say the news actually dropped, like, during school time, so I think we were, like, sort of awkwardly crowded around a single person's phone or computer nicking the school Wi-Fi to watch whatever video was coming out sort of thing. It was one of those sort of things. Like, I remember flipping out because I was like, oh, they're doing a sequel for this game? Holy crap, because I was really excited because, like I say, I did actually kind of enjoy... Well, there's no kind of about it, I did enjoy Sun and Moon. Like, there was ups and downs and bits and bobs and it was a bit weird, but I did enjoy it. The thing that I think has really wrecked it for me has genuinely been the way that Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon were handled. Because they weren't handled as sequels, they were handled as remakes. And that pissed on it so hard. They tried to give the Heart Gold Soul Silver treatment to games that had just come out, I think is the best way to put it.
Mm-hmm.
3, 4... So, like, what it kind of ended up being was instead of, like, a really nice sequel, you got half-assed remake because we only played these games a year ago.
Right.
Because, that, like I say, those games came out a year before Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon. Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon were 2017. That's cursed. And Sun and Moon were 2016. They were a year apart. And it fucked it up so much because everybody was coming out of Sun and Moon. Like, they had, like, you know, it was the sort of thing of like, oh, we just finished this in terms of, like, you know, a year sort of thing. Like, people have only just really been playing them sort of thing. People remember the
People are only
plots.
just now starting to get bored with it.
Yeah. And so they brought out a sequel. And everyone was excited. Because it was like, oh, sequel. We like sequel games. Black and White 2 did it really well. Maybe we'll get lucky. But then instead of getting a sequel, we got the same game with a slightly adjusted story and not much else. And it was just kind of disappointing because we were essentially like, we were all sitting here expecting essentially the Black and White 2 treatment. I remember very faintly, I remember theory videos coming out at the time that was like just Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon were announced sort of thing, and it was like we all assumed there were sequels. And I remember theories at the time being like, how many years is it going to be? What is it going to be covering? Is it going to be like covering the aftermath of the Aether Foundation coming down? Is it going to have a sort of almost Team Rocket-esque, like the boss is gone, what do we do sort of plot to it? I remember there being theories about that, and we were all really hopeful because it was like, you know, sequel. Getting to see a bit more of the universe, things like that, and instead we got the same game, really, with a slightly more fleshed out story, but also an only barely adjusted story that wasn't different enough from the game we had just got done playing, like, a couple months to a year ago, to make it really worth sitting down and playing through again. Because... And I'm not gonna hate the Ultra Beast thing, and I'm not gonna hate, like, the fucking Luisa Nilhalego thing that happens, and it's weird and it's great. It was interesting. It wasn't something that I was willing to play again, sort of thing. Not so far, like, not so quickly after it had just come out. And it wasn't something that I was really willing to sit down and mess with even a few years later, because, again, it kind of spoiled itself a little bit in terms of what it was doing. Because it expected us to sit down and very happily take basically a remake and just roll with it, and we just all sort of were like, I say we all. There's lots of people who like those games, and honestly, I don't blame them. They were good. They just weren't really good enough for what they were trying to do when they came out. Because they very much came out getting the Black and White 2 treatment and instead got something else that wasn't quite right, and it was just a bit in the end. I think it's one of those games that if I came back to it in like another decade, like having forgotten, like if I got lucky enough to sort of forget most of the plot and stuff, like, properly forget, not just, like, my memories are a bit hazy, so I might be talking out of my ass, but, like, properly, like, I don't remember shit about this game, what's going on? I think if I pick them up again then, I might be able to get through them a bit better. But it's very much like, the memory of the disappointment is fresh, and my god, was it a disappointment. Because I remember being so enthusiastic about the idea of, like, essentially Black and White 2 for this game. And it was like, oh, okay, what sort of, like... Because the thing that was really good was, it was like, what sort of... I just opened Basket Legion's page to look at the Pokedex, fucking forgot that I was gonna get slapped in the face with the spoiler and just had to really quickly cover my screen. That was great. It's like, it's the way that... Especially for me, it's the way that I was, like, so excited to see what was coming out of it, because I was... It is, in some ways, stretchy, thank you, Bossy. It is, in some ways, one of those, like, temper your expectations things, because it's like, yeah, if I hadn't been expecting, essentially, the Black and White 2 treatment, then I wouldn't have gotten disappointed. But at the same time, like, the way it came out, only a year apart, a lot of people expected it to be a Black and White 2 treatment. A lot of people were like, oh, cool, we're going to be getting a sequel game to this one. That's interesting, because there was a lot in Sun and Moon's story that was kind of left a bit untold and a bit odd. And it was like, okay, what are you going to give us then to continue this story? What are you going to fill us in with? Are we going to get more of the Ultra Wormholes? Which we did, but not in the way we wanted, because what we were kind of expecting was like, oh, are we going to get more Ultra Wormhole events? And what we got instead was the same Ultra Wormhole events as the previous game, but with the added, like, coat of paint of whatever the fuck was going on with Necrozma and that sort of thing. And it was just kind of one of those moments of, like, you sort of stare at it and you go, like, well, yeah, we did kind of get what we wanted. But this wasn't the way we were sort of expecting it to be, and we were kind of, we would have preferred if it was that way, thanks. And like I say, like, in the end, really, I think I bitch too much about these games, in a way, because they aren't bad games, and I don't hate them, and a lot of the time when I'm speaking about them, you'd probably get the impression that they are terrible, and I do hate them. And that isn't the point at all. Like, I don't like the games, but like, if I had to make a top 10 list, they're definitely nowhere near the top 10. But they're not terrible games. Like, they're not the worst
thing. They're not god-awful.
Yeah, they're not god-awful. Like, I have played, and I have seen people play some god-awful. Those aren't god-awful. What they are was just disappointing.
So what about Scarvi then? Because, like, we've got some people, like, bringing up some pretty convincing evidence that they've been working on Scarlet and Violet for years now, and this has been a project that's been, like, this massive undertaking, and they've been bringing in all these different aspects from all these different games, and they're trying to bring together the best parts of this game and the best parts of that game.
Yeah.
To really make this be essentially their flagship game for Pokemon.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, that should be fine. I guess I should probably temper everything that I'm about to say with two specific things, which is I haven't seen many of the theory crafting, or like any real of the theory crafting and stuff. I've been avoiding all of the big, like, oh, this was seen in the trailer, maybe it means this sort of thing, and like all that sort of really big theory crafting. And I've also been kind of I'm not a Reddit frequenter or anything, so I don't see a lot of the, like, r/Pokemon blah blah blahs about it. And I will also temper this by very quickly yelling, hey yo, Scarlet Violet spoilers ahead, motherfuckers.
Oh yeah, sorry.
No, it's fine, but I think people probably were aware that we would probably get here eventually. I think it's weird to say that I'm apprehensive about Scarlet Violet when I am this excited. Hello, Oxy. Yes, I'm aware that I am half an hour over time. We started talking and I don't give a shit. I don't have anything to do tomorrow.
Hi, Oxy.
But yeah, hi, Oxy. And sorry if that wasn't what you were intending to do, but you've rolled in with a pics and that sort of tone of voice, so I'm expecting go to bed moaning. That is usually the tone of voice used.
Also, Oxy, if anyone needs to go to bed, it's
Yeah,
you.
it's you. It's 11:30 there, like... But yeah, so... It's, like I say, it's really weird to say that I'm apprehensive about this game. Oh, you just noticed. Mm-hmm. Fair enough. Yeah. It's a game that I'm
It's weird to say that you're apprehensive about.
Yeah, I'm extremely excited for this game. Every single one of these trailers has been so much fun. I am so looking forward to things, right? But I am really apprehensive about this game, specifically because of those theories, honestly. Because this does look like a game that they've been working on for a long time, and it's really weird to say that when I look at some of the mechanics. Because, here's probably going to be the main big spoiler that I'm going to talk about. I'll probably avoid talking too much about some of the trailer stuff, but the trailer this morning that was posted.
Yeah.
One of the things that showed up in there was a bit of a demonstration of the battle system. And one of the things I noticed was a very similar battle system to PLA, in that the character seems to be able to move around, or at least in that particular segment. We're not talking the entire battle system, but there seems to be a specific battle system of some kind that seems a lot like Horde battles, which I am very happy about. I like Hordes. But there seems to be a very specific battle system that's similar to Horde battles, and allows you to move around like you do in PLA. And that's interesting, because there's people claiming, oh, this has been going in development for a really long time. Which by that implication means that PLA was probably also in development for a very long time. Which I can see, honestly, in this game. Like, the craft of this game is impeccable, and I would 100% believe that this was in development for a long time. Much longer than we knew about it. And that's obviously why they had to outsource Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl, and again, you've heard my fucking conversation about that shit.
Yeah, that was a mistake on their part.
Yeah.
Like,
and, yeah, I know that games tend to be out, like, in development for a really long time. I'm just meaning, like, in terms of how long, like, Pokemon-wise, because it's one of those sorts of things. But it's, it is one of those games where I am very much looking at this. It's got missing step syndrome. That is going to be how I'm going to explain this. You know when you're walking down the stairs, and you accidentally miss a step, and your stomach jolts, and it's like, oh fuck, and you grab at the railing and everything. It has that very faint feeling to me of missing a step right as you miss the step. Like, not, oh shit, I'm falling, but like that split second where you're not quite sure what the fuck just happened. It's that, like, very specific stomach jolt feeling of, I am half anticipating something to go wrong. And I don't know what it is. But I am
just got a nebulous bad feeling about
there is just this nebulous bad feeling about this game somewhere in my stomach that is staring at me going, something's going to go wrong here. Where is it? Because the thing with this game is, like I say, every single trailer that I've looked at has had me so excited. I am looking forward to it so much. Again, I'm going to avoid talking too much about the various trailer bits, but the way that they're doing the story, to avoid going into it in too much detail, it gives me Pokemon Ranger vibes from Shadows of Almia, which is a game from like 2008, I want to say, which had 3 paths in like the academy, but you got given one. You were the Pokemon Ranger, but there was also operators in this academy, and there were technicians, I think they were, or mechanics, something like that. And they did different jobs. You just happened to be somebody going to this school specifically as a ranger. It gives me that sort of feeling. But it makes me apprehensive, because then it's like, well, is it going to be like that and we're going to get Railroad 1? Or is it going to be we get given all these paths to choose from? And if we're then given all these paths to choose from, like, how does that work? And it's just one of those things where it's like, it's starting to make me nervous seeing how much is in this game, that what we're gonna get is gonna be lackluster in some area. And it's honestly frightening me, because it's like, they have shown us so much amazing stuff for this game. Like, I genuinely could not look a person in the eye and tell you, like, anything that I am disappointed by with this game, because it looks so good, the way that they've done it, like, what they've decided on and everything. Like, it's just so pretty, and everything about it is, like, really nice, and it is making me very apprehensive that we're gonna get something horribly, like, something is gonna go horribly wrong at some point, because it's one of those moments where I'm sort of staring at it like, too good to be true. There is no way that what we are getting shown is actually what we're going to get, right? There is no way that whatever we're seeing here is going to be all of it. There's got to be something somewhere in the background of this that is going to cause this to go wrong. I'm hopeful, but I've got this sort of terrible anticipation for this game that is very much like something is about to just fucking slap me in the face and just go, bitch, you thought it was going to be amazing? Ha! How naive. And I hate it, honestly, because this game has looked nothing but brilliant. Like,
you're just waiting for the other shoe to
yeah,
drop.
I'm really waiting for the shoe to drop, because it's sitting here, like, looking at it. Like, go back and watch those trailers again. Look at all the cool shit we have been shown.
Dude,
just the trailer
I have a hard
today.
time not bursting into tears just watching the trailers. They look...
They're amazing.
They hit my nostalgia buttons so fucking hard.
Yeah, and that, I think,
they're
is
brand
where...
new and shiny, but...
Yeah. It's like, it's going to be very interesting to see how this goes down, and to see everything.
How so, Oxy?
Yeah, I'm curious as well. Ow, that's very not good. Fuck. But yeah, while we wait for Oxy to get that out, like I say, there is this sort of nebulous, never-ending feeling as I'm watching all these trailers of this can't be everything, right? Like, if it just doesn't quite ring is... I don't want to say, like, it doesn't ring true or anything. It feels very much like this game has had so much fucking love thrown into it. I am looking forward to it so much. But sort of everything in my body is sort of sitting here going, there's no way that it can actually be as good as it looks. There's no way that all of these things that we're getting shown that you are very excited about are going to play out. Gonna play out in the... I think I'm stuck. There we go. I got stuck behind something. That was weird. Are going to, like, play out the way that we want to. There's going to be something that goes wrong. And I honestly really hope not. I really, really hope not. Like, this game is looking amazing, this game is looking wonderful, this game is looking brilliant, blah blah blah. I'm so hopeful. And this is the most excited I've actually been about a Pokemon game in a while. Because I sort of had a problem. So, again, Sun and Moon happened, and I liked Sun and Moon. Ultra Sun and Moon came out, and Jesus Christ, I was excited. Because, like I say, I thought we were getting the Black, White 2 treatment. And then those games happened. And then those games happened. And then... Sword and Shield. I didn't have any particular, like, for or against feelings for it. Not like how some people seemed to with those games. I was hopeful, but I was also very, very conscious of what had happened involving Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, that it made me a little bit more wary. But it was like, well, it's not a sequel, or it's not trying to be a sequel, it's a new game. So I was very excited, we'll say that. And, like, also, you know, it's an English region. Big excitement there. But it's weird to say this, I really do like Sword and Shield. Which is apparently a really weird opinion, or something, because a lot of people didn't seem to like that game. Those sets of games, rather. And I don't really understand why. Like, Dynamax was weird, but we'd been used to the quirk thing for a while now. So why did people get really grumpy about, oh, we've got another quirk? Like, yeah, we've had it for 2 generations now. What was the surprise? It was just one of those things of, like, loads of people were being really negative about these games. I really liked the story. People were on about how good the story was. I really liked it. I thought it was good. Like, it was a bit weird, but it was good, sort of weird. It was fun.
I know why. Well, I have a theory as to why people really hated the story.
Go on.
And that's because the people who play Pokemon games, for the most part, anymore, like, a lot of them, are our age. Like, they're in their 20s and their 30s and stuff, and they're really used to Pokemon games where you are the protagonist and it's your job to go out and do this stuff. And yeah, you're 10 years old, but you're taking down these bad guys, and you're taking down this organized crime ring, and you're doing this and you're doing that, and you're taking on all the stuff that the adults can't handle.
Yeah.
Because the adults can't handle it. But in Sword and Shield, you are literally told multiple times by the adults, look, you're a kid, it's your job to be going out and having fun and doing your best on this thing that you've decided you want to do.
Competent adults.
Leave this dangerous stuff to the adults to handle. We can deal with this. You just be a kid.
Yeah, and it's only when things go, like, when you essentially stop, like, don't listen to that you actually end up in the position where you do have to deal with things, because things do go wrong because the adults overestimated themselves. Really on.
Yeah.
And that's actually the thing, is I liked that. And it was one of those moments I thought it was amazing.
I really enjoy that facet of the story, because it really hits onto my thing of, like, where are all the adults? What the hell are the adults doing in this situation? Why aren't the adults interfering?
They are trying,
And in this one, it's like, yeah, they're there. They're
tried.
there. They're doing their jobs. They tried.
Yeah,
they just failed.
Yeah, and yeah, sure, they failed and the kid had to come in, but at the same time, they tried. Like, that's actually, hey, look, we're bringing back my massive fucking thing for Diamond, Pearl, Platinum. What up? This game doesn't leave my fucking thoughts, apparently. Diamond, Pearl, Platinum especially, has that for me, in that, hey, here's some big old spoilers for this, like, fucking, like, 15-year-old game, for present warning. Diamond and Pearl's story is a bit lackluster, which is why I prefer Platinum. Platinum has... Look, okay, so he has Looker. I fucking love Looker, by the way. Looker's hilarious.
Looker is great.
He has Looker. Looker is essentially the living embodiment of please God let the adults handle it, in that he is a super spy. He is an international police member who is running about. By the way, shout out to more disappointing things for Ultra Sun Ultra Moon, talk about that in a bit. Looker is running about.
Exactly.
Like, yeah, exactly, like, people were pissed off about it, but, like, Looker is running about helping out, and he's doing his job. He is a member of the international police. It is his job to catch the criminals. He's running about catching the criminals. That's what he's doing. He's looking for the criminals, and he is catching the criminals, and he is generally doing his job. And sure, he's a bit of an incompetent, blundering idiot on occasions. The thing in Veilstone, for one, where the Pokedex gets stolen, where he just kind of shows up 10 minutes late with the Starbucks. But, like, he's trying to do his job, and he's not doing it terribly. And again, Cynthia as well, especially in Platinum. Cynthia is all over the damn place in Platinum. And she's, like, all up there in the Spear Pillar thing, and when you're in the Distortion World, she's in the Distortion World with you, and she's helping guide you around and stuff with the legendaries. And generally, like, it does have that vibe of, hey, actually useful adults. Imagine those.
Yeah.
And, like, yeah, I love that with, like I say, Sword and Shield has the actually competent adult vibes. And the thing that is nice about that is that it actually does feel legitimate as well. Like, it doesn't just feel like, oh, we're being competent because the story said so. It really does feel like this is a world where, as expected, the adults are good at what they do. Because these adults have been training Pokemon for quite a long time. Yes, Leon is a bit of a bumbling idiot in that he gets lost a lot. But his Charizard is pretty damn strong because he has had it for multiple years now and has been training it. He knows what he's doing. He's used to this. Sure, he still gets beat by a 10-year-old because that's like the lore of protagonist. Plus, like, you know, the 10-year-old god a while ago, blah blah blah. But it's one of those things of like, there were genuine attempts made with that game to give the adults the actual feeling of having been adults for longer than 10 minutes.
Yeah,
And by
I
God,
think,
it worked.
in my opinion, they did a really good job. Like, I really like Sword and Shield. Because, like, yeah, Oxy, the protagonists are freaks of nature.
Yeah, that's what they do.
Yeah. But, like, in Sword and Shield, the adults are, like you said, they are adults. They're not just these wussy, wimpy, there to stroke your ego as you steamroller them people.
Yeah.
They're there to be adults. Leon is the champion. And it shows as he does stuff like rescues you from the weld.
Yeah. Like, it does show that, like, what he is a champion and this is what he does. And I think the other thing that's nice is it shows a champion that isn't just, you know, box cookie person sits in office day sort of thing. Like,
right.
that is the thing with Pokemon. None of them really felt that way, and I love that about the champions. Like, Lance runs a fucking, like, you don't see much of Lance, but he runs the fucking G-Men in the anime, and that's pretty goddamn cool on its own. But, like, all of them feel like they actually have a life outside of championing, which is nice.
Or, in the case of Cynthia, that championing, she has made it into this bigger job.
Yeah, which is essentially fuck around and save the world at the same time. She's good at it. Yeah,
right,
you see Lance all over, but you don't see Lance a lot, if that made any goddamn sense. Let's figure out how I can phrase that with an actual complete report. This also doesn't help the fact that I have played Heart Gold and Soul Silver, and I haven't played them in a while. I haven't played any of the earlier games, so I don't have anything I can say about, like, Red and Blue and that sort of era. But, like, the main thing I can remember with Lance is you see Lance at the Lake of Rage, but I don't really remember him much elsewhere in the game. So, if I'm wrong on that, feel free to correct me. But yeah, go ahead, sorry, with your champions thing.
I mean, granted, in Black and White and Black and White 2, you've got What's-His-Fuck, who's all depressed and sad and tired of...
I loathe Alder.
Huh?
Alder is...
You loathe Alder?
Alder is hilarious, I loathe Alder. It's one of those things.
Fair enough.
Iris is cool.
I mean...
But you don't see
yeah,
much
Iris
of
is great.
I love her design.
But you don't
see much of her.
I hate Iris's design, honestly. I fucking hate it.
Okay,
I despise it.
That's valid.
It's like somebody let a 9-year-old at mommy's closet and said, okay, dress this girl like a princess.
I mean, in all fairness, it is also Iris, who is, like, canonically quite young, so honestly that might have been what happened.
Yeah, but it's still awful and I hate it.
Valid. But yeah, with the exception of Black and White, hey, we just got off of explaining why that game is amazing. Let's talk about one of the things that's not so great about that game is the goddamn champions. Again.
Well, no, see, I like Alder.
Yeah, I hate Alder,
and I
but
like
I like
Alder because I like Alder because it shows what that kind of job can do to a person.
Yeah.
It leaves them wrung out, it leaves them exhausted, it leaves them tired and depressed and feeling like they don't really have a purpose aside from doing their job. Right? Like, he's there not as an encouragement, not as someone to be all like, okay, you're gonna go fight this guy and you're gonna beat him. You're not supposed to feel good about beating him. He's a cautionary tale.
Yeah. I like
He's
Alder
there
a lot
to make
more
you
in
think.
Black and White too, actually, where, like, your first introduction to him is he jumps off a cliff in front of you and starts talking.
Yeah, and I like that, because it's like, he's there to make you think, okay, is this the life I really want? Mm-hmm. And granted, it's a game, so of course that's the life you really want, because that's how you beat the game.
Yeah.
But in a story or in a show or something like that, that would really make you think, look, this guy is kind of fucking miserable.
Yeah.
Do I really want to do something that's that soul-destroying?
Yeah, it's one of those things, I think especially... Alder's thing with me is... It sort of sucks because he occasionally comes over as a bit of a wimp, especially in the actual story. And honestly, I like and hate it because it's one of those things of like, you look at it and it's like, is it meant to be doing this? I think it is, personally. You look at how Alder just gets his ass handed to him by N, and then you have to fight N as the champion. You don't fight Alder as the champion from what I can remember in Black and White. At all. You get... Alder is defeated by N off screen, you fight N, you become the champion. Yes, I'm aware, Kara, don't worry. And then, sometime in the nebulous 2-year spectrum between those games, your character leaves, and you get Iris as the champion instead. So presumably Iris will, like, stop being a gym leader if you're playing White or whatever. Went and became the champion herself, whatever. But I like, actually, that the defeat of Alder is an off-screen thing, and that you don't really fight him at all. Because it is one of those sorts of things of like, yeah, he was the champion, he was really powerful. But you do have to think back a little to the rest of the game and the rest of the time you've seen him. And you've kind of got to ask, like, how much of that defeat was N being really powerful?
And how much of that was
defeat
just
was him
Alder
being,
being
so tired that he just kind of gave up in... And it's a really big moment as well, because the whole thing with N and Team Plasma is such a poignant story. And it's one of those moments where you just kind of have to look at it and go, like, how done does a man have to be with his job and with his life decisions that when faced with this sort of danger, kind of just gives up?
Yeah.
Like, how tired do you have to be to look this sort of shit in the eyes, where you look Team Plasma, who want to separate all people and Pokemon from each other? You look this in the eyes and you go, I don't care.
I can't.
I can't. It's not I don't care, but it's that I can't. Yeah, that's a good idea, Oxy. You should go to bed.
Yeah, good night, Oxy!
Yeah, good night, Oxy. But yeah, it's really... really actually horrific, honestly. It's amazing,
it's horrific,
but it's horrific.
And it's amazing, and here's the reason why I like Alder so much. Is because I can fucking relate to that.
Yeah.
Like, when did those games come out? Hang on, let me look this up, because I need to know for sure.
White was 2010, White 2 was 2011, I think?
Okay.
I think they were 2010, 2011. You can double check that.
Let me double check.
Because like I say, I remember playing those as like a kid. Or it might be I think it was 2011. Because I think we had a gap year for 2012.
It was
and
2010 for Black and White. And 2012 for Black 2 and White
yeah,
2.
it was 2011 we had the gap year for, that was right.
Yeah.
But yeah, like...
So, those came out in 2010 and 2012. I didn't get to play them until a few years later than that. But when I really started playing them like over and over again was when Yace and I were homeless.
Yeah.
And I was like in some serious like deep depression and like hardcore like mental bullshit, right? And I could just relate to Alder just so much, like, yeah, I get it, my man. You're done. This sucks.
Yeah. I can't. And the thing as well is, like, when you're a kid, Alder is such a fucking piss. Like, it's such a piss take to sit here. You're looking at this champion, and it's like, you're the champion, you're the most powerful trainer in the region, how can you be tired of this? Like, I'm only 20, and I've not really been through, like, any really hard life experience like that, but, like, I get that now. I can look that in the eyes and go, like, yeah, I can get being just exhausted of something before. Because here's the thing, I love writing, and I love gaming, and I love streaming. So I'm prefacing this with all of that. I'm fucking tired of all three in some ways. Like, I'm in no way tired enough to stop, because if I stopped, I don't have anything really that I do anyway, so it's like, I just end up starting again. But like, SEW has been sitting on a hiatus for nearly 2 years, because I got so close to the end and had to stop because I just exhausted myself writing that story. I don't play games off of stream very often anymore, because I feel like I want to stream them. But I also would just like to play them. But also, if I'm just playing them, I get bored very quickly. So I'm sort of in this awkward, nebulous position of like, there's all these things that I really like to do, but I'm sort of trapped in this circle of like, I can't be arsed, basically, because it's just same shit, different day. So like, I've not in any way, shape, or form got the sort of thing you have with those games, but like, I can really get it a little better with Alder now, is like looking at him and going like, yeah, I can absolutely see how the strongest trainer in the region can get burnt out that bad with something. Because when it comes down to it, like, that shit is exhausting. Even if you really love what you're doing, attempting to be the best and remain the best at it is terrible. And that's not even, like, covering, again, Pokemon Champion, which isn't just, like, this idle title. From what we've seen in the other games, it kind of comes with a lot of responsibility. You're not just the most powerful Pokemon trainer in the region, you're, like, an actual leader.
Yeah, you're a leader, you're a first responder, you're someone who people look to, and if you can't perform, you're not only letting down your Pokemon, which is heartbreaking in and of itself because you've got this bond with them, but you're letting down essentially your entire nation.
Yeah, and it's a lot, and it's like, yeah, sure, it's a really cool thing, quote-unquote, to be the champion, to be somebody who's really cool and really powerful and just a lot of stuff. And it's really cool, but at the same time, like you just said, there is so much weight behind that title, and like, sure, it's one of those things where it's like, oh, you can say it's picked up that way over the years, right? And it wasn't always like this. It was. You look back on fucking Rant and stuff, like, he had, yeah, thanks, Nally, he had a lot of this going on. They did things. That was the thing, the champions. They weren't just champions, they did things.
Right. And the gym leaders, too.
Yeah, and the gym leaders, too. Like, there's a lot. One of my favorite moments from, I don't remember now if it was Black and White or Black and White 2. I want to say it's Black and White. There's a moment, yeah, it's Black and White because it's got the 7 sages. So there's a moment when the 7 sages are in front of you, and it's like this really big thing, and you're trying to fight your way, so you're trying to fight your way up to Alder, now, where N is as well. You're trying to get through all of this, and the 7 sages block your path. And then the gym leaders start showing up, and they're all like standing there like, you go ahead, kid, we've got this, we'll take care of these guys, you go and check on Alder. They all show up and like act as backup, and like, sure, it's like not this really, it's a small moment that's really big, is the thing about that, because it's such a tiny thing. Is just the adults did their job, they showed up and helped. Sure, they're letting you go to the dangerous part, but they are showing up and they are helping. And gym leaders, again, like you said, they're doing their job. And it's really, really nice, though, to just sort of sit there for a moment and look at it and go, yeah, every single one of these guys showed up to do their job.
Right, and there's a reason why in a lot of fanfics, a lot of people say stuff like, every Pokemon trainer is licensed as a first responder. You have to take these first aid courses. You have to take these first responder courses. You have to be licensed as a trainer to go on your journey, because as a licensed trainer, you are part of local law enforcement.
Yeah, and it's one of those, like, that's actually one of the things that I have a love-hate relationship for, because it's like, well, please, for God's sake, explain how the fuck points at all of the evil teams that presumably started somewhere. But at the same time, like, it's such a brilliant idea, and I love it because it makes sense. These kids are being given incredibly powerful creatures. If there is some kind of crisis, then yeah, you're going to call on all hands on deck. And you can't really dismiss this kid because they're 10. The 10-year-old might have a Gyarados. That Gyarados might be useful in a flood situation. Like, there's
or a fire situation.
Yeah, or a fire situation.
Whatever.
Like, there's so many little things like that where it's like, you can't dismiss anyone in the Pokemon universe. It makes me think, actually, of there's that one meme of, like, that level 3 trainer that I forgot about at the start of my journey. And you stroll past with, like, the level 100 Zekrom. Or whatever. It reminds me of that meme in a way, because it's like, yeah, sure, the kid is 10. You don't know what Pokemon they're holding. Especially when you consider as well that not everybody gets starters from the professors in a lot of, like, media and stuff. Like, most people do, but some people just register a starter Pokemon, so some people have had that Shinx, that Riolu, that Starly, even. Like, they've
that
had...
Cleffa
Yeah,
for,
that
like,
Cleffa. Years.
For, like, years, yeah. And, or, like, their big brother caught and trained it for them for a while, or they inherited this Pokemon from their dad, or...
Yeah, like, there's so much to it, so it's like, you cannot, for this second, underestimate anyone in the Pokemon universe. It doesn't matter if they're 10, you don't know what Pokemon they're carrying. So it makes sense that, yeah, they are registered in some way to do first response, to essentially assist law enforcement. Because when you look at it, they have the power to do it, a lot of them. Like, sure, there might be, you know, that one kid that started the journey 10 minutes ago with a level 5 Squirtle and nothing else. But if it's a fire, that Squirtle can still help. It knows Bubble, probably. Well, it might know Bubble, it depends on the generation and stuff. But, like, even early on, like, it would be able to do something. Unless they have literally just walked out of the lab, that Pokemon probably knows, like, an elemental move, which is a start.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things of, like, yeah, there is no underestimating people, really, in the Pokemon universe, because anything can be happening with these people. So it is great, and I love it. And actually, to go back to the Fick thing for a minute, to go back, like, really hard to Alva's thing for a moment, fucking didn't mean to do that, and to look at, like, that thing that we said about, like, oh, is this really the sort of thing you want to do? There's things in Fix, I think Ashes of the Past has one, actually, where it mentions, like, yeah, people sometimes don't finish the journey. They just stop. I think that Bidoof just climbed the fucking tree. I haven't seen any glitches in this game for ages, and I've seen 2 today, because I forgot to show that, actually. I'll show that fucking Ponyta thing afterwards, but yeah, a Ponyta climbed a tree earlier. It just levitated its way up and then floated back down because the graph is bugging out.
Oh, I see that.
I think I've possibly been playing the game too long. But yeah, like... Anyway, I think Ash of the Past has it, where Ash mentions at one point that, like, yeah, some of the kids that were from his hometown just didn't finish their journeys. They just did a couple of badges.
Got a full team.
Yeah,
or
got a full team
whatever.
or did a couple badges and then just went and wandered about the place with the Pokemon. Or they went home.
Yeah.
And, like, yeah, because that's an option, really. Like, obviously, it's not for the mainline story. Like, the main story games, the protagonist. Not an option. But when you think about it, yeah, there's people in these games that are going to have just stopped and just decided, yeah, okay, gym challenge isn't for me, contest circuit isn't for me.
I mean, like,
what are
the
things
bug catchers, like, the majority of the majority of the people on the routes,
yeah,
those aren't gym challenge trainers. You know what those are? Those are kids who come out here after school to earn a bit of pocket money.
Yeah, which makes it feel really awful when you beat the shit out of them and steal their money, but...
I mean, I'm fine with it.
Yeah, fair, but also it's like, it's just one of those things where it's like, this feels a bit mean, but it's kind of like...
Well, honestly, one of the first things that anybody should learn in the Pokemon world is never bet more than you can afford.
Yeah, like, I think that's probably, like, the never-ending lesson with those games, because, yeah, you don't carry more money than you can afford, because you don't know what sort of person is about to suddenly show up and steal that money. I need to pull up fucking Magneton's Pokedex entry.
Anyway, you were saying,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine, that's pretty much, like, what I wanted to go with is, like, you can just stop in the Pokemon universe. You don't have to do that sort of thing. But the thing with the champion is that they almost don't get that option because of the challenge thing. Because people have to challenge them to pass on that sort of title, they don't get the option to just say they're tired and stop, really. Like, you can retire, yeah, but somebody's still got to be champion, and we saw what happened with that actually a little bit in Red and Blue. Before you, the player, takes the title, there's only 4 Elite Four members. Okay, ta-ta, Shard. Yeah,
bye, Shard.
It is getting a bit
Good
late,
night.
yeah, good night. But yeah, like, there's only the 4 Elite Four members. Lance is pulling Double G as a champion and an Elite Four member in those games. Because, from what it's implied, or like what you can assume, is either an Elite Four member or a champion just retired, and so Lance ended up stepping up to the plate, and he just took over. And because that's the thing, when you have that kind of job in the Pokemon universe, at least, it's really going to be hard to retire from it because of how important that job is. Because, like you said, they're not just... Unlike normal trainers, they're not just the first responder, they are essentially, like, a head of state with what sort of... like, what their job kind of ends up implying. Well, that was adorable, actually. Really sleepy Drifloon waking up. Weasel waking up, rather. So, like, the way that kind of comes down to things, they can't afford to stop. And I think that is really well shown with Alpha's story, if we go back to him, because he's so tired, and you can see it. He's so tired of being the champion and being the strongest trainer and having to wait for someone to come challenge him. He's so tired.
Because it's not like he can just throw a match.
Yeah, because he has
Because
to
there's people poring over his fights, examining everything he does. You know, if he threw a fight, it would be this huge national scandal.
Yeah.
And it would invalidate the new champion.
Yeah.
Immediately.
It's one thing as well when we say that, though, because when you look at it in, like, the games, it's this private thing, but the anime, it's a public match. Like, it is in public. Everybody is watching this sort of thing.
Yeah, it's televised. It's like with the Galar regions.
Yeah, like
matches.
It's a big deal. Like it's in a stadium.
It's a sports event.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it is. You can't just throw a match and move on. Why am I using agile style moves? I'm supposed to be using strong style moves. Fuck's sake, I'm not paying attention anymore. Oh well, I'm having more fun with this conversation anyway. But yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, you can tell this man is so tired of his job and he can't stop. And it's actually like, it makes that story, it makes Black and White's story that much more painful in a way, because you run into Alder a couple times, I think, and it's so obvious that he just is just tired. And then you run into him in Black and White too, and the amount of life in him in that game when you first see him, where his introduction is literally hurdling himself off of a cliff, and then like wandering around like, oh, you're powerful, you're going to be interesting to follow. It's so bright compared to the last game where he's just tired. And it's brilliant.
It is. It's really, really good. There's so many headcanons that we've gotten into today.
I know. We've kind of like been in and out of like canon info and like headcanon fanon stuff so much. Like none of what we can really, none of what we've said can really be taken as 100% canon, because there is so much just interpretation stuff that we've also dipped into. But it's like, no matter what, like either way, like you can tell just from looking at the canon stuff that this man is a tired person.
Yeah,
and it's
like
so sad.
Yeah, it's not like they made it impossible to tell.
Yeah, it's just subtext. And looking into... This reminds me a little bit of when I was doing the BDSP stuff. Yeah, fire the cannons.
Fire the head cannons.
Yep. It reminds me a bit of when I was doing that shiny hunting that one time, and I popped out of it for a moment. I think it was Azelf. I popped out to go to Sunnyshow really quick because there was that one line of dialogue about Cyrus. Because, like, this is the sort of thing that happens in Pokemon games. If you're looking for this sort of info, you're going to be digging real deep, and you're looking at every line of dialogue. But I think it's canon that he's had that Larvesta that is then his Volcarona, which is his star member. He's had that since he was a kid. So that is a long time for Alder. I can't remember how old Alder is. Hang on. Fuck my game for a second.
Do you want me to look it up?
Oh no, I'll do it. I got it.
Okay.
I think Alder is like...
I think he's in his 40s.
Well, he's got a grandson. He doesn't have an official age, but he's got a grandson, so he's pretty damn old.
So he's at least in his 40s or 50s.
Yeah, so it's like... He has had... Yeah, the Wandering Champion of Unova, he's just talking... He shows up talking to Cherin. Oh, wow, that's disappointing. Bloody... Hi, I'm gonna just quickly read this and make everybody get some depression. In the past, Alder's starter Pokemon died of illness, and in despair over not being able to save it, he began travelling around aimlessly. Before his partner's death, the two of them madly pursued strength, much like Cherin did. The Pokemon's death changed Alder's outlook on life. The identity of this Pokemon is never mentioned in Black and White, but dialogue in Black and White 2 reveals that Alder's late partner was Larvesta/Volcarona. And another thing that is mentioned straight after, Getsis suggests that Alder may not have actually won the title of champion, instead being requested by the Pokemon League to take the position. It is said that Alder instructed the Elite Four to look after Unova while he travelled around the region. That's two very sharp details there.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, because a thing as well is, I'm pretty sure his team has a Volcarona. Black and White, yeah, he has a Volcarona. Black and White 2 has one. Pokemon World Tournament, he has one. So yeah, he's had at least one other Volcarona. That was...
It might be that the Volcarona that he has is, like, the child of his starter.
Yeah, like, there's a lot of implications there, I don't like it. But one of the ones that I'm going to go with really quick is... So the first time that you actually meet him in Black and White, the two of them are on Route 5, him and Cherin are discussing Cherin's goals as a trainer. At this point, he's aiming to be the champion of Unova, which, obviously, strongest trainer. I think that particular little... Fuck's sake. That particular little detail of he may not have been actually, like, won the champion position, he may have been asked to take it, is incredibly interesting. Because that's one thing that we know about Pokemon, is that you win the title of champion. So the fact that, like, he was essentially asked to take that role is like, yeah, everybody looked at me and said strongest trainer, so they asked me to be the strongest trainer. And it's one of those sort of weird things of, like, how imposter syndrome, there we go. How much imposter syndrome does that give? Like, yeah, sure, everybody else asked you to do it because you're the strongest trainer. But it's not like he proved that in battle necessarily, he was asked, so it's like, how much of some of his disillusionment is also just mad imposter syndrome of, well, am I really? Because...
And it makes me wonder what happened to the last champion.
Yeah,
Did the last champion die?
Yeah, like, who knows?
Because that's pretty much the only reason why I can think of they wouldn't hold
some kind
a champion battle
is
if the champion either died or was so indisposed that they couldn't battle.
Yeah. Hey, welcome to digging up the old days of Black and White fanfiction again, my god.
Yeah.
I suddenly remember why these games were such a fucking interesting thing to look at. Because yeah, like, there's so many questions here with what the hell's going on with Alder then, because it's like I say, how much of that disillusionment isn't even just that? How much of it is just imposter syndrome, essentially? Just being stuck. And feeling stuck. I'm gonna have to do Elekid off screen, I think, because it's not gonna... It's also a bit of a bitch. Like, how much of it really is just stuck in this position, and not really sure how much is honest. That's the thing, because it's like...
Oh, what if Alder, like, what if Alder's father or grandfather or mother or grandmother was the last champion?
Yeah,
and
that would be
when they asked
interesting.
him, he was like, okay, are you just asking me because this is a family thing? Like, is this nepotism? Or do you actually think I'm the strongest? Or...
Yeah, it's really interesting looking into some of... Like I say, this is why looking into the lore for Pokemon games can be so much fun, because it's like... Look at all this shit that we've just found out from a 30-second Google thing when we were talking, because I got curious, you know? But yeah, like... There's a lot here where you're, like, kind of like... Because he's so tired. I know this is the point I'm coming back to a lot here, but he is so obviously tired in those games that it is really... It's actually nice to see him in black and white as crazy old man, essentially. He just gives you... I think he gives you an egg, and that's what he does, or something. I can't quite remember. Like, he's so just mental in that game. You can see he's genuinely enjoying life again. And it's so nice to see.
He's just there to have a good time again.
Yeah. We've gotten so off topic from whatever our original point was on this. What the fuck did we start this conversation based on?
What you thought of how Scarlet Violet was gonna happen.
Yeah. And then we sort of ended up like journeying. So. Yeah, we ended up journeying through like Leon at one point, and it was like, man, this is another one of those things I think where I'm gonna clip this afterwards and we can end up with a part 2 to that like crazy Pokemon Rant thing. Like the Azelf is just sitting there in the background like, what? It's gonna be a part 2 of that apparently. But yeah, like I think that's to go back to the original point, which is the Scarlet Violet stuff. Like I say, I am very anticipatory, and there's a slight sense of apprehension to it where I'm starting to get really worried. We were talking about adults, that was it, adults doing their damn jobs. That was how we got here.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, like, I enjoyed the Sword and Shield story. I enjoyed the sense of adults actually doing what they were meant to be doing and doing their jobs. I thought that was nice. That was good. Thank you very much, game.
Yeah, it's nice to have at least some positive adult role models in my life, even if they are only in games.
Yeah, big move. But yeah, it's like, it's one of those moments where I am slightly terrified that they're gonna look at like how many people bitched about the Sun and Moon story, the Sword and Shield story. They're gonna look at it and go, oh, well, back to protagonist syndrome. Let's go.
Yeah, which would suck.
Yeah, I think that would suck, because the games recently have been putting more of a move towards, like, you know, not just kids doing everything, the adults have been helping. And, like, sure, like, there wasn't as much of it in the ones before this point, like, it really was a Sword and Shield thing, for the most part, but, like, it was still there, it was still done, and it was nice to see the adults being competent. And useful. Yeah. Competent to an extent. And useful, and, like, helping... Thanks, Car. And, like, helping out with the big problems and stuff. And it was done well, and it was good. And like I say, there's that sense of apprehension that people are gonna... that Nintendo are gonna have looked at the feedback from Sword and Shield and be like, oh, well, I guess people don't want that then.
That's something that worries me a little bit. Not necessarily that they're gonna look at it and be all like, oh, well, guess nobody wants that. But, especially with the anime, there's been more of a lean towards the younger audience.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of afraid that they're gonna do the same thing with the games.
Yeah.
Where they're just gonna be like, look, Pokemon is a kid's game for kids. You adults need to basically fuck off.
Yeah.
And move on.
Yeah.
And I'm really afraid that that's going to be something that happens with these newer games, especially with
the uni thing, isn't it? It's like high school or whatever that we're in.
No, it's not even high school. It's middle school or elementary school. Well, at least it looks like.
Well, for me it would be high school because that's about sort of, it looks about like middle to high school age, because we don't have middle school here. Our high school is middle school and high school.
Oh right, so yeah, like 6th form on.
No, 6th form is like 16 plus.
Oh, what's...
So high school
11.
goes from 11
It's
plus,
11.
yeah.
Okay.
11 up to about 16, and then 16 to 18 is, well, 16, 19 is sixth form, and then you do university after that. I forgot how short this table was and nearly tried to turn around. Good plan. But yeah, that's how that goes.
So
I'm
yeah,
nearly at the end of this Pokedex stuff. Woo.
it's just... I really like how it looks. I really do. I'm really excited about it. Like I said, every time I watch the trailers, it makes me want to cry from nostalgia.
Yeah.
But I am terrified they're going to kidify it.
Yeah. Oops. Yeah, it's very much like... Because the thing is, as well, is... They do kind of have to straddle a line with things where it is a kid's game, or it was originally. So they want to stick with that. But at the same time, like, come on, guys. A lot of the early audience... Oh, great, I have to do...
It's now in their 30s or 40s.
Is now, like, adults, come on.
Yeah. And I mean, they kept a really good line with PLA.
Yeah.
Like,
God,
not gonna lie.
PLA.
Like, I haven't played PLA. I'm never gonna play PLA. I would never make it past the fucking, not elders, the, lords.
Yeah, the nobles.
The nobles, thank you. I would never make it past that. I am terrible at rhythmic fighting.
Yeah. Gotta do
watching you play that was just fantastic. It was a great story. The gameplay was awesome. It was enjoyable without feeling like you were being coddled or babied.
Anybody accusing this game of coddling someone needs to get their fucking head checked, my dude. Please see that Volo encounter.
Yeah, and that Volo encounter was fantastic.
Yeah, it was great.
Like, your reaction to it, was amazing and incredible, and your reaction to the other thing that I'm not gonna say because spoilers if this goes up anywhere.
It will probably, yeah.
Was just the best thing I've ever seen. And I want that in a mainline Pokemon game.
Yeah.
One that I could actually play. Like, I get that sometimes you need to be a little bit more coddly, you need to be a little bit more kid-friendly.
Yeah. I'll just deal with this off.
But I just really hope that they would let the mainline Pokemon games age a little bit more.
Yeah. Because, like I said, I think actually that has kind of summarized why I've got this apprehension feeling kind of well. Jesus Christ, I didn't realize this was an alpha, that thing's huge. It does sort of frighten me a little bit that they are going to call it back to the cold. Because, God, if there's one fucking thing I can say about Sword and Shield that pissed me off. Oh my god, the cutscenes. The amount of dialogue, the amount of walking me through everything. The lore was amazing. Please stop giving me cutscenes every 10 seconds and trying to tell me exactly what's going on. That Bidoof is wiggling. Yeah. I'm really beginning to think I've been playing this game for too long today. That Bidoof was doing a dance. But yeah, like, the amount of cutscenes. I love it. I love that game. I love the lore. Everything is great. I desperately needed that game to stop fucking talking to me for 5 minutes and let me play. Please. That and the hot... Like, I love the hot fights, but my god, there were like 60 of them in 30 seconds, and I didn't need that. I needed people to step back for 5 minutes, chill, take a deep breath, maybe grab a drink, and just let me run around and play the game for a little while before you throw more lore at me. That would be nice. On the plus side, I did really like Sonia's enthusiasm, though. Like, that was good. She was very enthusiastic, she's good fun, and I did actually quite, like, it was honestly quite familiar to me to have, like, that much enthusiasm for a topic that you just start fucking talking constantly about it. I'm doing it right now. It's called streaming. But yeah, like, that was absolutely something that was very relatable. I just also really needed it to calm down a touch, because she was kind of, like, Hello. Oh, Kara's back, hi. Yeah, she was kind of around every fucking corner, and it was just kind of like, Jesus Christ, stop. Especially in the late game.
Yeah.
Like the late game, like Cheshire or whatever, Chestershire. The one with the ice rock gym. Depending on which game you were playing.
Kit Kat.
What?
Whatever, you sounded like a mouse chittering to me.
Chestershire.
Oh god, I'm so loud in that.
You are a bit, yeah.
Yeah, you're a little bit loud.
I'll just turn you down a little bit, hold on. Try again?
Sorry.
No, it's okay, I just turned you down a bit. But yeah, like, that town especially had... oh boy, she was here a lot. And like, I relate to having a topic that you're so excited about that you just can't stop talking about it, but it's like... I desperately needed her to take 2 steps back and calm down a little bit about the amount of plot she was dumping on my head in one go. Like, I think actually that was one of the main failings with Sword and Shield, was because of the competent adult thing, the plot kind of had to get dumped at the end because you hadn't been involved in half of it.
Yeah,
like,
and they could have handled that. They could have handled that a little bit better by, like, having you overhear them talking a little bit more here or there.
The legends were done bloody well. I will say that. Like, the little, like...
The legends were done well.
The investigation into the legends was done very well because, again, Sonya was actively including you in that sort of thing, and how much of that was like, oh, let's give the kids something to think about sort of thing that isn't, you know... like, you know, it's something other than the gym challenge to think about, but at the same time, it's not like, oh, you know, getting them in danger. And how much of that was just, I have so much enthusiasm about this topic, I must scream. But either way, like, that was done really well, because you got it throughout the game. There was the legendaries and stuff, and all of this background story in the Darkest Day. The only bit at the end was, like, the sudden Rose thing was, like, that was really, really out of its ass, honestly. Like, that was the main thing I see a lot of people complaining about, was it's so stupid and out of its ass, and it's like, maybe it would make more sense if we'd overheard more of it throughout the game.
Like, it would have been cool to see some, like, overt arguments between Leon and Rose, like,
oh, yeah,
no, this isn't a big deal, or something like that, where it's, like, obvious that there's some tension building between these two factions kind of thing.
Yeah.
But, I mean, for what they were working with, I think they did a reasonable job.
Yeah, I think they did do a pretty good job with it. Like I say, there's nitpicky details and there's things that could have done better. But what they gave us was still good. Like, that's the thing, it doesn't need to be perfect to be fun, it doesn't need to be perfect to be good by any stretch of the imagination. You can enjoy a game that isn't a masterpiece. I enjoy shitty fix all the time. Like, I will sit down and read some absolute garbage just for the sake of reading it, because it's not bad. It's just not good or great. No, it's just good. It's good enough. But yeah, like... yeah, I do think there is... because one thing that's always been funny to me, though, has been people rabidly arguing that Pokemon is a kids' game. Have these people ever looked at the plot of these games? The first game, you're fighting the Mafia.
Yeah,
like
Pokemon is a kid's game only if you look... Pokemon is a kid's game only if you look at the surface shit.
Yeah. Like, surface level, oh, absolutely.
At the surface level, it's 100% a kid's game.
Mm-hmm.
If you take 10 seconds to look even a smidge deeper, it's not a kid's game.
Yeah.
Like, that's one of the things that made Yace really happy about it when I finally convinced Yace to play. Because Yace was all like, oh, it's a kid's game, it's just elemental rock, paper, scissors, there's nothing more to it, whatever. And I finally convinced her to play, and she's like, oh, it's deeper than that.
Yeah.
There's more mechanics to it, there's more lore to it, there's more stuff than just... yeah.
We've got lore. Hey kids, want some lore?
Come to the ocean, we've got lore.
Yeah, like, legitimately, this is the sort of game where it really does have a trench coat moment of like, here's a happy kids game. Hi, did you want some depression with your happy kids game? Have some anyway.
Yeah,
like I say,
especially with stuff like...
we googled one thing really quickly looking for Alder's age and we found depression. Like, these games are not even fucking trying to hide it that much.
Yeah, it's just...
But yeah, it's like
so
every single person who has ever looked at me and gone, Pokemon is a kid's game. I have looked them in the eye and legitimately said in the first games of the series, you're fighting the Mafia. In Generation 4, somebody is straight up trying to destroy the world. You want to look me in the eyes and continue arguing that this is a kid's game? I have a list of all the things that are going on. Would you like another apocalypse? Generation 3 has 2, depending on which game you're playing.
Generation 1 has genetic experimentation and cloning and the death of children and cloning those children.
Yeah, exactly. It's like...
Do not
But I was going with, like, just
started.
the main plot, like, baseline shit that you will just run across, not even, like, you don't have to read all the dialogue to run across the realization that, hey, like, somebody is trying to destroy the world. You just had to read the main plot data to see this shit, sort of thing. It's like...
Do not get me started on the Pokemon is a Death World train again.
It
We
is!
all know my opinions on that.
It is! It's just got a fluffy fucking coating over the top, and we've managed to somehow disguise the fact. It's great.
It is. And I'm...
Anybody who looks me in the eyes and tries to tell me about Noble Bright shit and relate it to Pokemon needs their head checked. Like, legitimately,
Wait,
I will say...
Noble Bright?
It's essentially Grimdark Inverse. It's everything is candy canes and unicorns and nothing is wrong ever. I have legitimately had somebody
That's
attempt...
Gen 1 My Little Pony.
Yeah, pretty much. I have had somebody look me in the eyes and attempt to explain to me that Pokemon is a Noble Bright universe, and I'm like, because the Pokedex isn't real anyway. And I'm just sitting here, like, looking at you like, my dear
Just
friend.
because the Pokedex doesn't... Oh my god, you're a moron.
Yeah, pretty much. I sat down and I was looking at this, but I need to do Shingling off stream as well. Fuck.
The manga is canonical to the world at large.
That too. That helps.
Yes.
God, the manga.
May not be the canonical story of the person, that one's debatable, but the lore and the world itself.
Mhm.
Pokemon is a hell of a place.
Even
Evans
when
fucking
fanfiction...
died.
Even when fanfiction tries to soften the blow of stuff in Pokemon, it's still a fucking death world.
Yeah.
People eat Magikarp.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's fucking, what's it called? What's the shark one?
Sharpedo?
Sharpedo? Yeah, there's Sharpedo fin soup.
Yeah. It's like, there's...
Like,
I forgot about that one, and that one's fucking grim as well.
Slowpoke Tails. There's another one. Good old Gen 2.
Yeah. Slowpoke Tails, Moo Moo Milk.
That one's
I mean,
less
The Moo Moo Milk is
egregious.
less egregious. Yeah, I was about to say, Moo Moo Milk is slightly less egregious, but only, like, from an angle.
Okay, Chansey Eggs.
Yeah, okay, there you go. Valid. Valid. Pokemon eggs generally, but whatever. It's like, Pokemon's one hell of a death world, my guy, and anybody who looks me in the eyes and tries
Mewtwo's
to...
existence.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
brought that one up, yeah, like, the thing is, like, Gen 1 is one of those games where Gen 1 started fucking hardcore, and anybody who ever attempts to tell me that, oh, I forgot to put friggin' Ominous Wind on my list, oh well. Anybody who looks me in the eyes and is like, Pokemon has always been for kids, I will look them in the eyes with Gen 1, and, like, you just go over the base plots of Gen 1. Mafia.
Yeah, like Gen 1 came out when I was in 5th grade, right?
Let me put it to you this way.
10.
Oh, sorry.
I was 10 when Pokemon first started getting big.
So, you know,
Right.
target age.
Yes, target age. And if my mom had known what Pokemon really was about, she would not have let me play it.
Yeah.
Granted, she didn't want to let me play it anyway, but my dad bought me the Game Boy and Red, so...
Yeah. I was, this is about to dox me immensely when I say my age on that one, so I'm actually not going to do that one. I'll just put it this way. I was younger than 10 when I played my first Pokemon game. I played Diamond and Pearl. You people do remember what Diamond and Pearl's story is about, right? You know, the remakes came out a couple, like, you know, about a year ago. I think you remember what the story's about. It's about somebody trying to make the fucking apocalypse.
Yeah.
Because he hates emotion.
Played that in elementary school.
It's like, my guy, anybody who attempts to tell me that Pokemon is a light-hearted universe does not know what they're on about.
Allow me to put this into words. Pokemon is a noble right world, if you're not paying attention.
Yeah, pretty much. And yes, it does
Yeah.
make the Minecraft XP noise, and it's fucking hilarious. It keeps confusing me every time it makes a sound because of it.
If all that matters to you is surface level bullshit, sure, noble bright. If you have an inkling of higher comprehension in your skull, you start to notice some shit.
Yeah, you really do. It really is, like, it's so egregious that people try to look me in the eyes and go like, this is a happy universe. I'm like, what are you on about?
It's really
The
not.
unknown.
I've seen joy.
I don't like it when people fucking
Blame
take
dark
Pokemon to its quote unquote logical conclusions, right? I hate that shit.
Fuck people who
Bring
use, like,
dark Pokemon
rational
makes
Pokemon
me
stuff.
sad.
It's so stupid.
Yeah,
Anything that has rational in the title isn't.
yeah.
Honestly.
It's just
Grimdark.
Grimdark for the sake of being Grimdark.
Which are, admittedly, some things I can get behind in stories, but I have to be in the right mood for it. And Pokemon
Well,
is
there
not that mood.
There was this one called, what was it called? Pedestal. It was about this girl who wanted the best, most perfect, most amazing Pokemon in the entire world as her starter, and she spent her whole first 10 years of her life building it up in her head and putting this amazing Pokemon on a pedestal and all this stuff, and she gets a Camerupt.
The fuck are you
Oh,
smoking?
no.
Camerupt is actually not bad.
Yeah.
Camerupt
Or
is
wait,
not a bad
is
Pokemon.
Camerupt the first evolution?
Normal.
Camerupt, I'm pretty sure, is the second.
Yeah, it's normal.
Number.
Okay,
I
yeah,
just
she
somehow
gets a
got
Numble.
backstrike out of that. I don't understand. Okay, whatever.
Sorry,
I
she
don't
gets a
get that
Numble.
fun.
And she names it Pedestal because she's so disappointed in it, and so she names it Pedestal so she'll remember that putting things on pedestals is bad, right?
Fuck, is this a Bible study story?
Yeah, I guess, or some shit. But in it, she almost dies, she falls off cliffs, she gets mauled by wild Pokemon.
Okay, that's going a bit far. That's PLA stuff more than anything, because, you finish whatever you're saying. And I'll do
PLA,
that.
Pokemon have no chip.
Yeah, I'll finish that particular ramble in a minute, but you finish your thing first.
The problem is I wanted to like the story, but the content made me so uncomfortable because it was so far outside the general, feel that Pokemon goes for
Yeah.
that I couldn't fucking read it.
Yeah.
Because
It's just not quite right.
Saffroneth's stuff is really good because it strikes that balance really, really well, right?
Well, look who has returned to my fucking streams. Saffroneth fix. Yeah.
Sorry.
No, honestly, it's not your fault at all. They just have a really good fix for this sort of thing, because yeah, they are absolutely, they have a good feel of what Pokemon feels like.
Yeah.
It comes across so well.
And they don't... Have you noticed that all the meals that end up getting prepared are vegetarian in some way or another?
I actually hadn't noticed that. That's amazing.
That's the thing! That's what's great about it, is all the meals are vegetarian or berry-based, and it never comes up in story. They never make a big deal about it. It's never like, oh, do you want some Taurus steak? No, thank you, I'm vegetarian. And
Yeah.
it's never brought up as, this big moral thing. It's just always just kind of there in the background.
Yeah,
And I
hadn't
barely
noticed
noticed it myself.
Yeah, I hadn't noticed that at all, no. I'm gonna probably start going back and reading fucking Legendary Popular again now, because that fic has a lot of food in it. And,
That fic has a ton of food in it. And I'm almost positive that I'm correct in that there are no meat-based food items. There's rice, there's berries, there's vegetables, there's seaweeds, but there's no fish, there's no meat. I think there's tofu.
Yeah, I do remember tofu being a thing, but yeah, I hadn't
Poor
noticed that
Bellsprout.
Ha.
before. Boo.
Boo.
But yeah, to take over that line for
I
a
couldn't
second,
say
PLA, I can take the whole, like, possibly mauled by Pokemon thing. Like, falling off cliffs,
Well,
that
yeah.
sort of thing, like, that's actually something that is a legitimate concern in it if they're, like, 10 and they're running about being a bit stupid, or they're, like, you know, the Spearow thing. Because it is canonical that some Pokemon are still hostile even in modern day. The thing is, like, they're more just hostile chase out of territory, not hostile attempt to murder.
Yeah.
Like, so that's the thing, like, PLA...
Territorial, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, and like, because, like I say, you look at the Spearow in episode 1, or like, I mean episode 1 of the anime, the first episode of Kanto, episode 1. Like, you're going real far back here, like, those Spearow aren't mad, but they're not actually going for, like, a kill or anything, really, they're just very, very hostile.
The only one that tries to go for a kill is that fucking psychotic-ass Fearow.
Yep, I remember that fucking thing.
I will state Hydreigon, though. That one's a little bit ballistic.
Yeah. Hydreigon's... I'm trying to remember the anime episode for that. I know it's Gen 5, but it's like... I don't remember
That one has anger issues.
That one, I do remember that one a little bit, yeah. I remember it had anger issues, and... Like, there's a lot, but there's like so
I mean,
many
there's some that are like that, like Aerodactyl.
Yeah, the Aerodactyl is like... As also, that can also have the argument of, that thing was just revived from a fossil forcibly. Like, that thing probably is running on PLA sort of hardware.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
So it's
I don't know, it's just like, when it comes to PLA fix, I can buy the more aggressive, the more dangerous, the more this, the more that, and I can write that too, because it fits in with the setting.
Yeah, the setting has canonicalized it, and it makes sense. That's what we're given to work with.
State, you've given me an idea, though, with all the vegetarian food things. A bowl of ramen with a pair of eggs in it that look like eyes in the shape of a Tangrowth.
That's probably a thing.
That would be
yeah,
hilarious.
That would be hilarious. That's probably a thing. But yeah, like... It's just the way that people attempt to really darken canon Pokemon is just depressing. Like... It's not a light universe. It's not. Look me in the eyes and tell me it's a light universe when we've got the Mafia, we've got Team Magma and Aqua trying to flood or drown the world in magma, you've got fucking Galactic that wanted to completely... Well, admittedly, it was mostly Cyrus, I think. I don't even remember if it's canonical that the others in that team knew what the fuck was going on with that plan. It's all a bit weird. But like, you've got
Does Lord exist?
we were talking about Guzzlord earlier. Yeah, I got Callie to pull up the screen compilations for a little while. That's actually what started this entire thing. That's actually...
He's not hostile. He's just hungry.
Yeah. So that's actually what started this entire conversation, was I got Callie to pull up the Guzzlord Scream compilations, and we started talking about those things, because I tried to explain what the fuck a Guzzlord was, and was like, I just realised I don't remember much about these games as I thought I did. Oh well. But, yeah, like... Anybody who tells me that Pokemon is a bright universe is off their head. But anybody who tells me that it is, like, a really dark, dramatic universe... You're also off your head, I'm not gonna lie. You're also completely
Yeah, it's the people that try to make it like Worm that piss me off.
Yeah, it's like, it's not My Little Pony Gen 1, it's not Worm, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, it's just Pokemon.
And hell, the fucking My Little Pony comics themselves got dark.
Yeah.
No, not Gen 5.
Yeah,
Gen
not
1.
Gen 5, Gen 1. Gen 5 is fucking... That's
I know.
escape.
I know, I was setting that out there as well, additionally.
Oh no, the My Little Pony Gen 5 comics got dark as hell.
I actually
The
haven't seen
fucking
those
King
ones, but
Sombra backstory, holy shit.
I know only a little about that, but I'm pretty sure it involves slavery, so I'm already like, what the fuck is going on?
Apparently he was a good guy at one point, and corruption does bad things to the brain.
Yeah.
I haven't been in that fandom for a long time, but I occasionally check some fics that were well written. Like the best Minecraft fic I've ever read that I'm pretty sure is dead, and it makes me sad.
Rest in peace. But yeah, like, anybody who looks me in the eyes and attempts to tell me that Pokemon is a fucking happy place is off their head. But it's a place where...
no!
Here's the thing. It's not a happy place. It's a place where it can be happy. That's the important thing. Also, shoutouts to I've somehow nearly gotten to the end of the fucking PC boxes with all this, with only 5 Pokemon that I'm gonna need to do off screen.
See, the thing is, I don't think that's quite right. I don't think that it's not a happy place. I think it is a place where it is exactly as happy as you make it.
Yeah.
It's not sugar-coated fantasy land, but it's also not low fantasy D&D.
Yeah, it's your personal happiness and the well-being of yourself and your Pokemon depends entirely on you.
Yeah.
There are systems in place that are there to enforce certain rules. There are systems in place that are there to enable you as a 10-year-old to live in this world as best you can. But overall, your well-being and happiness is based on your own efforts.
Yeah.
If you want to be happy, all you have to do is work at it.
And I do like
And
that.
that's what I love about Pokemon, like so much. Is it feels like D&D in that way, where if you want to be happy, if you want to have a good life, if you want to not be destitute,
You can.
you can. The value of your effort is
Is rewarded.
yes, is rewarded, is seen.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh yeah, it's approaching midnight for me, don't worry about it.
Yeah, I was refraining
I
from
have-
commenting.
Yeah, I don't give a shit. I'm having too much fun with this conversation to really care that I'm nearly 2 hours past end of stream time. I stopped caring, like, ultimately I stopped caring basically when we started this conversation, because I was just like, you know what, I don't care, I'm just gonna keep going.
I was gonna make a pokes for reply joke, really.
Fair enough. Yeah, you'll probably get one of those before I go to bed. Maybe, depending on what's in the content of the message. But yeah, like, because that's... Like you said though, like, Pokemon is just as happy as you make it, which is always nice. And I think that's the one thing as well that makes me really loathe those people that attempt to look me in the eyes and call this a kid's game that is only a kid's game. Or the people that attempt to look me in the eyes on the opposite end of the spectrum and call it grimdark. Because it's like, no, it's as happy as you make it. Sure, you can make it grimdark if you really want to do that, but like...
You can make it, Grimdark. Allow me to point you towards Darkrai, Jirachi.
Yeah, like, there
Yeah,
is...
right.
Darkrai isn't a bad Pokemon.
No, not him, just his movie. The events within his movie,
Ah, yeah, you're talking
as
about...
well as the Jirachi movie.
God, that
Yeah,
was-
yeah. No, that's fair.
Those movies. I will watch those again, man. That'd be fun.
Yeah, we should watch it.
Literally, but I'm assuming most of us here have already watched it. The literal big threat of that movie is fundamentally being erased from existence.
Oh, we're talking about the Darkrai movie. I thought we were talking about the other one. But yeah, like, literally...
I haven't watched the Jirachi movie in years.
I'm calling you into the fucking server at some point. We're watching the Jirachi movie. I'll bribe Posse to do it if I have to. My god, you need to see that movie. It's good.
Yeah.
I have seen it. It's been years, is what I'm saying.
Then you need to see it again. It's good.
Yeah.
Fair.
But yeah,
I need
it's,
to see the Darkrai movie again,
I
honestly.
think I need to turn my game up a little bit more, actually. I'm beginning to think that I'm going to be a bit quiet, because I am
What was
talking a
the-
bit quieter now compared to how I was talking before, so I'm going to turn my
Which
game up a little bit.
Pokemon movie had the Flying Fortress?
Victini?
Yeah, Victini. God, the Victini
There was one
movie.
before that. I think it was Pokemon 2000.
Yes, Pokemon 2000 has the Flying Fortress of Doom. It's wild. It's a good fucking movie as well, actually. I will
We
still...
should just watch all the Pokemon movies in order.
If I can,
Yeah, that would be fun.
like, I really wouldn't mind getting an actual access to the Pokemon Darkrai movie again. I had a hard copy and I can't find it.
Yeah. Honest to God, like, anybody who looks me in the eyes and tries to bring... I actually had this conversation the other day in Oxy's Discord. Anybody who tries to say, like, Lugia's song is the best, I would humbly like to point you to Aracion. Lugia's song...
Glaceon is really good.
Yeah, Lugia's song is brilliant. I do love it. I love the manual version more than the orchestral version at the end of the film. Fuck me, Aracion is good in both versions, though. It's so nice.
Orastia makes me want to cry.
Yeah.
Or not
It
Orastia,
has made me
Lugia's song.
cry,
Yeah.
actually. Lugia's song is best, yes, but can I introduce you into Paris song?
Boo.
Boo.
Sorry.
Yeah, no. I think we are actually at the point where this conversation has hit, like, just circle territory because we've run out of people to rant about. But yeah, like, the thing is that no matter what happens with Pokemon, it is very much based on what you want to have happen, which is always nice. But there is so much in the background, like, if you just take it at surface level, then yeah, you do get a very nice, chill game. There's no darkness at all. You spend more than 10 minutes looking at things, and by God, you're gonna have that opinion change real quick, aren't you?
Mm-hmm.
Like I say, we did one quick search to look up Alder's age.
Yeah.
And we discovered that his starter Pokemon died of an illness, and that changed his entire attitude towards life.
What about
Like,
the
fuck.
fucking ice gym leader in, was it Unova? Where he thought that his Frank, where he thought that his Mamoswine had abandoned him while he was ill.
Yeah, that's Johto. But yeah,
Oh, that was Johto?
Price, his name is. Which, by the way,
Bryce.
shout-outs to Price and Bryce. We have two ice gym leaders. Price is from Johto and Bryce is from Unova. Which is why the name's probably, which is why you probably got them mixed up
The
there.
Bryce is right.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, Price was the one with the Piloswine, yeah, because it went out to get medicine and got frozen by accident.
Yeah.
It's like,
I mean, that's depressing as fuck.
yeah,
He spent, what, 50 years or 20 years or some shit thinking that his
lot.
Pokemon had just abandoned him?
yeah.
Did they fix that? I haven't seen this one.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, they fixed it.
Because he was refusing gym challenges because of it, Ash went into the fucking mountains, found the Piloswine by accident, and then dragged it back, basically.
Mm-hmm.
The Ash is the
Yeah,
past
he
bit,
was a
this
block of ice.
I think they defrosted him first, it was wild though, but yeah.
Wasn't this when Charizard wasn't listening to him, so they almost froze to death before Charizard was, like, actually...
No, I think this is because Charizard gets his shit together at the I don't think Charizard was here, actually, because he gets his shit together at the
Charific Valley?
That one, yeah, Charific Valley, which is early Johto. And I can't remember if I think he either gets his shit together in the Orange Islands because of a Poliwrath, or it's something in the valley. And I don't remember which at the moment because I can't recall.
I don't know, I could have sworn there was something mentioned about them almost freezing to death.
Oh, that's happened a couple times, really.
Yeah.
That
Okay.
seems to be a recurring theme in Pokemon for some reason of a
Hello, Google, my
cold
friend.
bad.
I've come to talk to you again.
Hello.
Bulbapedia, you'll do.
I accidentally woke up my sister.
Oops.
Yeah, so a
Doing
magma...
laundry.
Okay, a magma nearly killed them both with burns. The Piloswine wandered off into the snowstorm, like literally in front of him, which is what happened. Oh, yeah, no, that was in Ashes, so sorry, it was Ashes of the Past that had the proper go-off and thing. Many years later, no time frame given obviously, Ash and Price went into a cave where they found Piloswine trapped in ice with some herbs by its side. It was revealed that Piloswine had stepped into the blizzard in order to get some herbs to cure Price from its burn, but fell down and became frozen. They used Cyndaquil's flamethrower and then had Pikachu use Thundershock to revive it, and eventually it did.
Oh, okay. Cool
So, yeah,
beans.
and then Team Rocket fucking
Okay.
happened, but yeah.
I understand that, but I'd just like to understand the implication of also needing Pikachu to revive it.
Yep.
That's...
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
dead as fuck.
It was dead as fuck, but yeah, shush Pokemon, it's fine. Everything is A-okay. But yeah, like,
Yeah.
that,
Noble Bright, my entire ass.
yep.
You're still mad about that. Are you just gonna be mad about that for the rest of eternity?
Yes!
Probably.
Okay.
I'll hold this grudge until I die.
I'll hold it past that point, I think, at this point. Like, honest to God, I'll keep it fucking going. I'm gonna meet you in the afterlife and fucking raise hands about it. Because it's so
It was a
stupid.
stupid argument and I won.
Okay.
Kara, sweetie, you can't win against dumbasses. It doesn't work. You can't
Yeah,
win
it's like
against
trying to play
stupidity.
chess with a pigeon. Stop it.
It doesn't work like that.
No.
Fair. But yeah, like, I again just looked at the Pokedex, completely forgot what I fucking needed to change the moves to. Ironhead. Oh, I've already done it, never mind then. Yeah, so it's just, like, Pokemon is just a hell of a universe, is I think the best way that we can even put this entire conversation into a summary. It's such a fun universe to mess with, and there's so many ways you can go with things that it's just good. It's just good.
It is very good.
Muting while I do dishes.
Fair enough.
Okay,
I'll
good
probably be
luck.
finishing the stream soon anyway, to be fair, because it is, as mentioned, late. But yeah, like, it's so much fun to just do lore dives and stuff. Can this thing stop fucking missing, please? It's so much fun to do, like, lore dives and stuff with Pokemon, because it's just... there's so much stuff that if you don't really look for it, you don't see with this game, with this series, and it's just... look at it all. Look at how many things you can find just exploring. Just wandering around talking to people, just reading the Pokedex, just looking at the supplementary material. You just... there's so much.
It's just amazing.
It's so good. Oh, it's such a good game series. It's so nice. And like I say, to bring it back to the original point, I'm hopeful for Scarlet Violet. I really am. There's so much apprehension that this is going to be built up to a point where it doesn't sustain itself properly again, like what happened with Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon a bit, at least for me. Like, I do have fears, I'll say that, but what we've seen so far, I'm so excited, I cannot wait. It's only a couple months away. It's going to be so dangerous for me because it's coming out, like I say, it's coming out during uni time. I'm going to be in the middle of classes and shit when this comes out. It's going to be so dangerous for me to get this game, but I'm looking forward to it and I'm really hoping that it comes out just as well as what we've seen. And I'm hoping as well that they don't try and step it back to, oh, Pokemon is for kids, because Pokemon was never just for kids, and that's kind of the important thing. Like, yeah, at its heart, it is elemental rock, paper, scissors. That is what it is, and if you just play through the game, yeah, that is what it is, that is what you get, and it's very easy to just sit there and get that experience. But that has never been all that there is to Pokemon, and that's the important thing. It's always been elemental rock, paper, scissors, but it has always had more depth than that, no matter how you try and be blind about it. No matter where you look, you're going to find those little bits and bobs of detail that, yeah, this is a lot more to the game than you might want to think about, because a lot of those implications are kind of dark and kind of awful in some ways.
Yeah.
But that's what makes it
and
fun.
And yeah, you can say all you want. Oh, but the Pokedex isn't real. Okay, fine, the Pokedex isn't real. That doesn't get rid of the implications of fucking Cinnabar Island. For example.
Like, just
that doesn't get rid of... Yeah, just to name one. Like... Yeah, they're getting the information for the Pokedex from 10-year-olds. Okay, that's fine.
Except that's the thing, they're not necessarily. It's coming from the professors and you just unlock it as you capture the Pokemon.
Yeah.
So it's like, I've never understood that argument of, oh, the Pokedex is being written by 10-year-olds, it's all exaggerated. Like, no. No, it isn't. You're being told to fill the Pokedex. You're basically just... the Pokedex is just giving you the sort of inspiration to keep going because you want to see what other weird info this professor has learned.
Yeah, and granted, some of it
most you're a courier.
Yeah.
Some of it might be lore. Some of it might be, like, this is what it is according to my great-granny.
Yeah, myth
or
and legend.
whatever. Myth and legend, yeah. I don't know, it just because it's not Noble Bright doesn't mean it's not happy.
Yeah, and similarly, just because it ain't grimdark doesn't make it not dark.
Yeah.
Well, this has been a bloody conversation and a half, hasn't it? This just kept going. All of this started because I told you to look up Guzzlord. That's one hell of a derail. I told you to look up Guzzlord and you got Scream compilations. This was the result.